So, everybody hear me okay, yeah? I'm used to these mics. But we start off with an introduction by Daniel to inventory, maintenance, warehouse management in the whole supply area. And then Lee gave us a demonstration then, very impressive demonstration, lots of funky music which I don't have in relation to data capture and that. So I think I was due to be finished about 5 minutes ago, so in the next 2 or 3 minutes I'm supposed to talk about all the other manufacturing technologies that are out there. So it was a challenging task to be given this talk in about 20 minutes. So what I suggest is I'll go through these slides. Hopefully it'll give people an appreciation of what technologies out there are. We've a booth outside, I'm going to be around for the day, so if there's anything that catches people's attention, probably the best thing to do is to give me a shout and I can go one-to-one with people on it. But to introduce ATS and our connection with VisionID. VisionID are hardware providers. ATS, we are solution providers, independent solution providers, and we work in the manufacturing area. So as mentioned, we've looked at a couple of technologies here already, but there are literally tens of thousands of technologies out there. So how companies use ATS is they come to us and we work with companies in forming strategies and in selecting the technologies that best will give you your return on investment. As mentioned as well, I'm also chairperson of an organisation called MESA. We actually have a vice chairperson here in the room, Peter Cullen from Rockwell, so we're well represented today. But yeah, so I'm going to kick off with maybe mentioning a bit about MESA. So again, with manufacturing technology, welcome to the world of acronyms. So MESA is Manufacturing Enterprise Solution Associations International. It's a non-for-profit organisation, it's a .org, and it promotes best practices in the whole area of manufacturing. So again, Daniel was discussing the importance of the supply chain, where MESA positions itself is purely in the manufacturing domain. So it sees itself as a knowledge broker here. So it's a great resource to go to check and find out if you have any queries around manufacturing technology. And as said, it's a non-for-profit and it's purely independent. So the type of stuff, that's the type of things that people like associated with MESA. There's a resource library. It's been around for over 20 years, so there's a lot of material being fed into that. There's working groups. We have a fairly active working group in Ireland. If anybody's interested in joining it, we're set up on LinkedIn, so it's MESA Ireland, and you're welcome to join. It's located in over 89 countries now. They have a global education program. And I suppose a lot of what happens with these white papers and that is that they might start off as a white paper, and this white paper then would feed into becoming maybe a guideline with some organisations. And these guidelines will feed on to becoming standards, and eventually these standards can become laws in countries. So by being part of MESA, you really do have a chance to influence where manufacturing technology is going, the standards, and eventually the laws are. It's estimated that over $13 million of IP has been put into writing this material over the last 20 years. So this information isn't available on a Google search. You have to become a member of MESA. The individual member of MESA is about $200. We're saying it's non-for-profit, but they also have costs, so that's to cover their costs. But and in the training courses, the costs associated with that as well. But so again, if anybody's interested in finding out more on MESA, just give me a shout and I can point you in direction of becoming a membership in that. A working group that I'm currently involved in, and we have people from all around the world in this working group, is best practice in food safety and traceability. So it's quite topical. Most of my background has been with life science, pharmaceutical, medical device, but the food industry is getting a lot of attention, and we've all probably heard about recalls and that recently. So improving traceability, getting more data granularity onto the factory floor, and technologies are enabling that. So this white paper, we're hoping to have finished it maybe Q1 or Q2 of next year. So, but there's white papers being published all the time. So just to give an idea of the work that's ongoing. So a bit about ATS. ATS started off as an automation company, and then around the early 2000s decided to shift into a domain with a technology called Manufacturing Execution System, MES. And to be able to be it's a service industry, you need to have a global presence. So over the last 5 or 10 years, the company has set about through acquisition and through startups getting a global presence, including ourselves here in Ireland in 2012. Just a selection of some of our customers. And really, what I want to highlight here is more the four sectors. The company's been around for 25 years, do a lot of consultancy work, so you could throw up lots of companies here. But our four key sectors are life sciences, food and bev, automotive and aerospace. From a geographical perspective, we're doing a lot of work obviously here in Ireland, life sciences, food and bev, a lot of that's coming from the continental Europe. Our automotive references are mainly out of the US, and their aerospace references are UK and US. From working with all these, I've the privilege now working with a lot of these companies across sectors. It's quite interesting. A lot of these companies face the same challenge, and a lot of the technologies, the same technologies are there to help companies get over those challenges. At one of our MESA meetings recently, we had an automotive company and the pharmaceutical company getting into a very interesting discussion, and they started off at total different levels, but by the end of the conversation they'd come together and realised they had the same problem. So, it's, again, MESA is a very good source to kind of bring people together and you can share problems. Some of the business activities we're doing in this area, we've training, we do consulting, we have on-site support, we have 2 software development centres, we do fixed price projects, and we have spun out a few of our own products as well due to customer demand. So this is a MESA slide, and again I mentioned welcome to the world of TLAs, 3-letter abbreviations. But so yeah, what I've put up here is I want to discuss quick discussion on what is the difference between a manufacturing information system and a manufacturing execution system. So how MESA describes this is an MES is placed down here, and it has, as you're increasing data sophistication, but you're also increasing complexity. Our biggest competitor when we go into customers would be paper and Excel sheets. And I would place paper and Excel sheets down in this corner here, because we can all whip up an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet fairly quickly, and Microsoft Office is fairly cheap, so you can place it down here. If a company then decides they want to invest in a manufacturing information system, this is technology that's going to pull your data together in a more orderly fashion. If you move past this line here, you're into what's known as an enterprise manufacturing information or manufacturing intelligence. And what's increasing here is we're bringing in more things like analytics. We're bringing in event-based triggers. So the software is taking the data and actually doing something with it without people being involved. And then finally, what you're working up towards is an MES, and again, another acronym, Manufacturing Operations Management, where you have your analytics, you have your event-based triggering, you have your data collection. They're all of equal importance. So with an MES, you're collecting the data, you're storing it, you're using IT quite well, but you still require people to make decisions based on that data. With an MES, then, with the execution, which is important, you are actually collecting the data, and the system is applying the intelligence and executing business rules, production rules automatically without human involvement. So it's using that data. So a lot of the work ATS do is we'll come into a company and we'll try and help you find out where and how much technology you should invest in. With workload complexity, you could also probably put a euro or dollar sign here. Like, everybody would love to have an MES, but the reality is these systems can go from hundreds of thousands into the tens of millions with the bigger organizations. So there has to be a business case there today, and in today's world, that's even more so. And again, it ties in very nicely, I think, what Daniel was saying, in that for companies to move ahead, we need to invest in technologies, but we need to be smart at how we do it. So the technologies are there, and I suppose our role is to help companies to choose the right strategy and choose the right technologies. I would say, like a lot of hardware people here today, if you are going to invest in these sophisticated systems, you do need to invest in the hardware as well, because there's no point putting a lot of money into a sophisticated software system and then not having the right scanners, not having the right mobile technology to maximize these systems. So like, I worked with Cognix in the past, I've worked with Motorola, very good companies, so they're good examples today. So This is typically kind of a challenge we face when we go into companies. You'll find that companies will have invested a lot that have production equipment, and they might have also have an ERP, an enterprise resource planning system in place. But what's tying it all together is maybe a paper on the manufacturing floor. And very, very prevalent in life science, but it's becoming more and more prevalent in areas like the food and beverage industry as well, with more focus on traceability. So a strategy, like you can build a strategy up. It doesn't have to be a big bang approach. You can build it up piece by piece, but you can invest in technologies around data collection or statistical process control. You could look at putting in place overall overall equipment effectiveness, OEE. Then perhaps you could maybe with that you might put in place an MIS system, as I said before, which pools all this data together, and that could be a strategy and could be sufficient for your company, and you could eliminate the paper on your manufacturing floor, and you can start reaping the rewards then of your IT. However, there is then requirements then to build this up into what's known as the MES, and an MES is a manufacturing execution system, and it resides on the manufacturing floor, and it pulls together your equipment up into your back office. So these strategies obviously can take a number of years, and there's a lot of technologies involved here, but they do reap rewards. So where MESA resides is MESA puts itself forward as a knowledge broker here in this whole area of all these technologies. I believe GS1 are speaking later, and they'll tie in here in relation to standards and for barcoding and traceability in general. Daniel presented there, and I kind of positioned, I hope you don't mind now, Daniel, but I put you up here between the manufacturing floor and the supply chain enterprise resource planning. So it's kind of Motorola, very strong solutions around inventory management, warehouse management. Both ERP systems and MES systems do provide solutions for warehouse management. So again, these are the type of questions we come across with companies. Who manages our warehouse? Is it the ERP system or is it the MES system? It can be either, depending on maybe how much investment you've done in your ERP. But again, I say Motorola very strong in this area. Ourselves, we've some products around OEE. We've some data collection products. We're partners with companies, Infinity QS. They're one of the leading SPC companies globally. Then an example of a company maybe doing manufacturing information systems is a Dutch company called HiQPM. Then we're looking at MES providers, and there are thousands of them, and they can be ranked into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, etc. But I just put up a selection here and hope I haven't offended anybody else in the room maybe, but of maybe an example of three what I would consider tier 1 MES providers. Yeah, so I suppose most of those names will be familiar. Camstar is very big in the medical device field, whereas I think everybody would have heard of Siemens and Rockwell. And then finally, Lee presented on data capture. So if you are down here, we need to take the data and feed it back up into your MES. So Cognex's very strong in that area. And then I saw Zebra outside again. They're a very strong company when it comes to present. You need these labels printed. If you work in progress on the factory floor, your manufacturing system needs some way of tracking of this work. So typically that requires a label, and Zebra are very good at that. So I'm kind of conscious of time. Like I have a video that goes on for 10 minutes, and that explains. It's a screenshot. It's a video of a typical MES solution. But I think considering we're about 20 minutes overdue, rather than what I would do is like I can show this video to people one-on-one. And we can demo the software outside in relation to OEE and data collection. And in general, if people have any questions, if they want to pass me on their details, I can always follow up with them after. And if you are interested in MESA, again, there is the website mesa.org, and we have a page on that. But also, if you go to LinkedIn and search for the group MESA Ireland, you'll find we've all our meeting minutes and presentations are all there for everybody to view. So I'll leave it at that, and I won't get between people and coffee. So, okay, thank you.